Okay, let me start with you with we saw each other at the Super Bowl. We were on Radio Row.
Yeah.
When I came back, Alex, my producer, who you know, he definitely had this horrible cough and respiratory issue twice. So after the Super Bowl, what happened? How did all of this happen for you?
Yeah, I mean, I was fine for a long time. It wasn't. They're pretty sure I got exposed probably March 12th or so. It's like a Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, 12th, 13th. I went all weekend, no issues at all. Played golf, hung out, did all the different things. This was at the beginning of the whole, coronavirus. People trying to figure out what you do and how many people can get together and all that stuff. And probably Monday night, which would be the 16th of March, I started feeling lousy and not real bad, just like a cold. It was a long weekend. Figured I'm just tired, no big deal. Same Tuesday, and then I get a call Wednesday morning, March 18th, saying, "Hey, listen, somebody, one of our friends who we were around at this function, there's a bunch of us, uh, tested positive for COVID-19 or coronavirus." And so that day, I started feeling lousy, had a temperature for the first time, and ended up going to the Mayo Clinic. Called my doctor at the Mayo Clinic and said, "Hey, this is what's going on. What do you think I should do?" And he said, "Come get tested." Got tested, found out that Friday that I was coronavirus positive. So that kind of started the whole journey.
So you find out you're positive. By the way, the person that you had come in contact with, male, female, had you touched them? Had you high fived them? I'm just wondering, were you just around them?
Yeah. So I was just around. I think if I remember the best I can remember, I was just around him. My wife, who also got the coronavirus, she hugged the individual, and so I blame her. So I tell her that she gave it to me. It's always good for your marriage. Um, and so my best guess is I got it from her. But here's the deal. Um, Someone could have sneezed or coughed, and you never know. The individual was not sick or showing symptoms at the time, so we had
Mhm.
no idea. Maybe I shook his hand, but I don't. I know my wife hugged him because she told me, and I'm not sure if I did or not, though.
What happened to that guy?
Oh, he got really sick too. Both of us were in the Mayo Clinic at the same time. I mean, he was a little bit younger than me. I'm 48 now. I was 47 at the time. Yeah, he got really, really sick. But we were the only two that got super sick out of all the group. Everyone else had everything from no symptoms to mild. Maybe one person got a slight case of pneumonia, but nothing serious. I mean, obviously it's serious, but nothing where they had to be hospitalized.
So at what point do you go from, all right, feels like a cold. Okay, now it's 3 days. I don't feel real good.
Yeah.
Okay, I know I've been exposed to it. Okay, now I've tested positive, but now it goes from I'm not feeling good to I'm in bad shape. I'm in ICU. Explain that, how that happened.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Even when I got it, I wasn't worried. I'm like, I'm 47. I'm healthy. I mean, come on, that doesn't happen to us. It's no big deal. I'll come through it. I thought it'd be like a 4 or 5 day deal. No big thing. So I went through that weekend after I found out Friday. I felt like a bad, like not even a bad flu, just like a flu. Like just didn't feel good. Slept a lot. No big deal. Um, I could control the temperature at that time. My temperature was Tylenol. Got through the weekend. I actually thought I was getting a little bit better on Monday, and and I'm like, all right, I'm on the other side. Wake up Tuesday, I'll be great. Well, I woke up Tuesday and I was worse.
Oh.
And I'd gone downhill pretty quick. All of a sudden now I could feel it in my lungs. Um, didn't have a terrible cough, but my lung, I just like was wheezing and now nothing I took, like Tylenol or anything, would knock out the fever. And so I was laying around all day doing nothing and feeling as bad as I could feel. And went to bed that night, hoping I'd feel better the next day, and I felt worse. So I called my doctor again and said, "Hey, this is what's going on. I feel like my chest is heavy and tight, and I'm wheezing." And at that point, he said, "Hey, let's get you into the emergency room and get you looked at because this is going the wrong direction." Because it was like 7 days in, and so I went in, and I remember my wife was sick, so she was in bed, so she wasn't driving me. My two boys were sick; they had it; they were going to drive me. So my 18-year-old daughter has never got it, unbelievably, and my two other daughters never got it. Uh, she goes, "Dad, I'll drive you." So she gets me in the car and drives me to the Mayo Clinic, which is 5, 10 minutes away. And I go in. They're waiting for me, and I thought I was going to be there, Scott. An hour or so, get some fluids. That's what you do. You get an IV get some meds, you go home. And so I told my daughter, I said, I'll call you when I'm ready to get picked up. And she's all right. And so I go in there, they put take an x-ray of my chest. And like 5 minutes later, one of the pulmonologists comes in and says, hey, I'm doctor, I can't remember his name. And I'm going to be your doctor. I'm a pulmonologist. And you're going to go to the ICU. I'm like, what? I'm not going to the ICU. I don't want to go to the ICU. He says, no, you need to go. Your lungs are full of whatever. And we don't know where this is going. You need to be on oxygen because your oxygen levels are too low. And we need to watch you closely. And I said, okay, that's not good. And so they took me to the ICU, and I was there for 3 days. They got me on all kinds of drugs. They kept on having to bump up the oxygen, and they finally got that kind of settled and figured out. And after 3 days in the ICU, I was doing better, and they sent me to a progressive unit for a couple of days, and I went home. But it was nuts because you go from thinking it's no big deal to the next, 36 hours later, 48 hours later, you're sitting in the ICU with the best doctors in the world looking at you saying, we're not really sure like how this is going to end or how this is going to work out because it's a new virus. And they did everything they could. They did a great job. They're amazing, these people, and the courage and what they do. And no, they had the PPE stuff on, but they were so gracious. But that was a scary part, not really knowing. And you knew people, like I had to stop reading the news. I had to stop listening to stuff because I'd read the news like, so and so 40 years old dies of it. And I'm like, that's the path I feel like I'm on. And so I stopped reading that, and you have a lot of pretty serious conversations with God, and you have to really control your thoughts because you can go negative pretty quick.